Well, what's going on, everybody? Hey, today I want to show you something pretty cool. If you are into detachable blade clippers, then I want you to check these out. I recently went out to BarberCon Dallas. I was invited out there by Fort Worth Barber Supply. Shout out Edward and Amy. We love you guys. Rolf, we love you. But anyways, while I was out there at the show, I was just walking around and I came across the Heiniger booth, and they really focus a lot on detachable blade clippers. Matter of fact, the guy that I was speaking with, he was one of the main guys at Oster for the longest time. I don't know, it sounds like Oster may be going out of business when it comes to the clipper side of things, just shutting it down and really focusing on maybe their toasters and those kind of products. So these guys are stepping up. I want to say they're a German company. However, they're showing up in America, and I'm a big fan of the Oster Octanes. And these things are the same shape as the Oster Octanes, a little cooler color in my opinion. I like the style, but something real cool about this particular detachable blade clipper, it feels, if not the same weight, it feels a little bit lighter, but it is definitely quieter than the Oster Octanes. So as you can see, it's got a cool little design. You know, it's black with some little like stars, maybe like a universe type vibe to it. And it also has the red and white Heiniger logo, which is pretty dope. Once again, I feel like it is quieter, but it also, what I like about it is it has 2 speeds on it. So as you can see here, you have the first speed, and then you have the second speed. Now, some people don't care about speeds. I feel like knocking down bulk, I like to just go ahead and mow through it with a higher speed. When I'm doing my fade, I do a higher speed. But if I'm detailing with these, I like to kind of turn it down sometimes on that lower speed. So I make sure that I'm being more cautious, not to cut a whole lot off really quick, but just to go ahead and, you know, tap at it a little bit. So anyways, this right here is, man, it has become my favorite detachable blade clipper, and I want to go ahead and show you a tutorial using this. Now, I've cut this guy's hair before on my channel, and I've actually used the Oster Octanes, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again using this, and this fade comes out really blurry. I think you're going to like it. You know, if you want to learn how to use these detachable blade clippers, go ahead and watch this tutorial, man. I think it's going to bless you.
All right, we're starting out with a 1.5 blade, going with the grain to knock down some of the bulk and smooth out the top as much as possible. Now we're going to go ahead and set our first guideline with the 5-0 blade, trying to make each guideline as smooth as possible. Now we're going to create our second guideline with the 0A blade. Now covering a lot of territory, we are going to set our third guideline with the 1A blade. Now we're going to grab our number 2 blade and we're going to fade it right into the 1.5 blade that we did on top. And remember, you want to cut and comb, cut and comb. All right, now that we have that section blended nicely into the top, we're gonna grab our 1.5 blade and we're gonna tie these two sections together. We're gonna tie the 1A blade section into the number 2 section, simply using the 1.5 blade. And as you can see, it's blending together nicely. If I see any darker spots up in the top area, then I'll go ahead and go up a little bit higher than where the guideline was, just to make sure that we blend that together better. All right, so now we're gonna grab our 1 blade. It's just a number 1 blade, and we're gonna tie the 0A section together into the 1A section. And we're doing that once again with a number 1 blade. And as you can see, these things flow together nicely when they're set properly, and they are set properly whenever they come out of the package. If we see any dark spots, we can use the corner of the blade to just come in and kind of, tap at those dark spots to remove them. Now, if you can't remove a dark spot with that particular blade, then you can grab the blade that's 1 step smaller than that one and then try to tap at it with the corner of that blade. The reason I'm tapping in this area, even though it's a lot higher with that 1 blade, is because the 1A blade and the 1.5 blade wouldn't take out that dark spot. So then I just went ahead and used that number 1 blade because it's a little bit shorter. So I'm hoping that with this blade and just tapping it with the corners, I can knock out that darker area. All right, now I'm going to come in with a 3-0 blade, and I'm just going to knock out the little line that I created with the 5-0 blade, and I'm just going to flick right into that 0A section. Once again, if I see any dark spots, I'll just use the corner of the blade just to tap at those dark spots. Now, I don't want to use this short of a blade way up in the top of the fade. I just want to stay kind of lower and, just kind of use it where I feel safe, that I'm not going to create any more holes, but I'm just going to stay right at that area and just tap at any little lines or dark spots with the corner kind of down low. Now, a lot of times I just use this system to come in and lay the foundation for the fade because I believe it just goes a lot quicker with this system. And then at the end, I know that I can always come back with my regular clippers and just do a little detail work if I see that I need to. Now I'm coming in with my trimmer and I'm gonna go ahead and bald out the bottom. And as I get closer to the line that I created with that 5-0 blade, then I'll just tap at it a little bit with the corners of my trimmer to make sure that we get every little bit of that bottom line that we had set in the first place. All right, so the same steps we used on the side, we're gonna use in the back. However, we're just dropping that first initial guideline just a little bit lower. So we started out with the 5-0 blade. Now we're going to do our second guideline with the 0A blade. All right, like I said, we're covering a lot of ground with this 1A blade, and we're creating our third guideline once again with the 1A blade. And the reason that I like to use the 1A blade to cover so much ground is because that's the shade that I like the majority of the fade to be. I feel like that it just helps blend things a lot better. Makes it look a lot smoother. So now we put the number 2 on, and once again we're just going to use that number 2 to tie right into the top. All right, once we did that, we're going to go ahead and grab the 1.5 blade, and we're just going to tie those two panels together, where the 1A blade will tie into the number 2 blade. And as you can see, just like that, this thing is coming together. Now we're going to take the 1 blade, the number 1 blade, and we're going to tie the 2 sections together that we did previously, and that is the 0A section into the 1A section. Once again, I'll use the corner of the blade if I need to go up a little higher and hit any lines or dark spots that I see. Sometimes when I feel like it isn't blending as smooth as I like, I'll use this 1A blade and I will go down with the grain just to smooth everything out and give it a good transition. Now I'm going to use the 3-0 blade, and I'm going to tie in the sections where I use the 5-0 to create that first guideline, and we're just going to flick that right into that 0A, which was the second panel. All right, now once again, I'm going to go ahead and grab my trimmers, and I'm just going to bald out the bottom. As I get closer to that first guideline, if I see some lines or spots, I just tap it with the corner to make sure we tie this thing together. Once again, I know that I'm just going through laying a good foundation. Even though this fade is looking nice already, I know that I can come back in towards the end and do more of my detail work. All right, this little section right here was looking a lot darker to me, so I went ahead and put my 0A blade back on and just was tapping at that, trying to tie it together a little bit better. All right, so now as you can see, the front line is a little sparse, so we're going to be very careful not to take it back too far. We're just going to lightly hit those hairs, trying to give it the sharpest line as possible. And then my man, he's okay with color enhancement and fibers, so I know that, you know, we can go ahead and make that front line up look really nice, and it usually lasts on him for a week or two. So Now I'll come in here and there where I'll just grab my clippers and I'll do a little detail work as I'm looking at it. And then, you know, I may move on, and then towards the end, I may do a little bit more detail work. I just like to take my eyes off the fade for a little while, do something, and then if I see something, once again, I'll grab my clippers and just touch it up. So now we're going to go ahead and put a part in there. We're taking it at a slant, kind of off-centered from the middle a little bit. And then, you know, I try to hit it on both sides of the line with the trimmers to get it looking a little sharper. And now we're going to make this thing look real crispy sharp whenever I throw some color and fiber on there. And I know that whenever I put the color and the fiber on there and then I come back in with the razor, that line's going to be real sharp anyways. Someone asked me the other day, what kind of color do I use? My color of choice is called My Favorite Barber Color Enhancement. And that's, it just works for me just because whenever I use color enhancement, I like to be able to brush it and it just blend, you know, it is smooth instead of really sticking to the skin, you know, so I like it to stick once I've kind of manipulated it the way that I like. So a lot of times I do that using the blow dryer to really get it to set in, but first I want to have a little freedom to manipulate it and move it and blend it a little bit more. So as you can see, I went ahead and sprayed some hairspray on there, and then I put on the hair fibers, and then I just came and lined it up again and then hit them with that hairspray once again. And yeah, now we're going to go ahead and lock it all in with that JRL blow dryer. That thing's a beast. It gets hot and it blows sometimes too hard. But someone asked me, why do you blow dry, you know, the hair after you put the fibers on there? Won't that blow some of the fibers off? And I said, hey, if they can blow off, they need to come off now, right? So anyways, once again, took my eyes off the fade for a little bit, did some other things. And then whenever I look at the fade, I've got fresh eyes to see things I didn't see before. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and hit this thing with the razor blade and just get off any excess hairspray that might be on the forehead or get off any excess fibers. But at the same time, just, you know, making that lineup look just a little more crispy. Now I'll come in with my curved shears and just, you know, go ahead and knock down anything that I see that may be sticking out. You know, I gave you that side shot just so you can see how blurry that fade was looking. Come on, we call that the God fade because it has no beginning and it has no end. Yes, sir. All right, so this is the cut right here. I hope you like it. This is a detachable blade fade, and I feel like that thing's looking blurry. So, hey, God bless you guys. Until next time, peace. I'm out of here.